I'm Helen. I live in Leeds, but I was born in London.
And I'm Kate, and I also live in Leeds with Helen, but I was born in Brickhouse. We met at university. We both played rugby for the uni team.
We were friends for about 3 years before we got together. We went out dancing on your birthday.
So my birthday's in January, and nobody is at university in January. And Helen was the only person around, so I settled for her company.
So, yeah. 6 years later, she's still settling for my company. We actually got engaged in Reading. We were engaged for about 3 years, I think, before we got married.
We knew fairly soon into our relationship that we were going to get married. And Helen actually told all our friends before she told me. So I had a clue, but then Helen went up to Leicester in my car.
I borrowed Kate's car, a little KA, to collect a bike that we'd left in Leicester. And my friend Neki and I tried to
attach a bike rack to the back of my KA. And between them, they managed to totally trash the car.
We dented it. So I drove home way later than I was supposed to be driving home. And on the way, I thought I'd stop and buy some flowers for Kate to apologise. And when I went to buy the flowers, the florist who I stopped off at was doing wedding flowers for a wedding that she was about to go to. And she was all happy and humming, and you know, it was an idyllic little village that I stopped in. So I dropped in. She was saying, I'm doing flowers for a wedding and everything. And she was like, you know, are you getting married? Is there anybody that you want to get married to? And I remember thinking, actually, yes, there is. So I bought the flowers. We went back to Reading, presented them. We had a little inspection of the back of the car to see how serious the damage was, and then we went out for a meal that evening.
And as a distraction technique, Helen
I asked her to marry me.
I just said yes straight away.
It worked. She's almost forgiven me for the car.
We don't have the car anymore.
We had a 1950s rock and roll theme. We're both quite partial to rock and roll music, but really the theme came out of the blue plastic classroom chairs, which we were able to use for free from the school. And we were presented with 120 bright blue plastic chairs. And we thought
I didn't want to make chair covers for 120 chairs.
So we thought, what goes with bright blue plastic chairs? And we sort of decided a diner theme would go with that. So we went with a sort of a diner theme. We had records as placemats, and we had milkshakes and burgers, and we had a rock and roll band that came and played. These are records which we used as placemats for the wedding. Everybody that came and had the sort of lunch or wedding breakfast or whatever you want to call it had a record in front of them, and everybody's name was printed on it. It was our cheap way of doing sort of place labels and things. And we're quite lucky because Kate's dad is a huge collector of records, so he had lots of old records that we could just use. If you turn the back over, they're all classical music, which is less rock and rolly, but still it was nice and cheap. So we just brought some record labels, printed them out and stuck everybody's names on it. It was quite efficient. It looked quite cool on all the tables. Our costumes. Kate sewed both of our outfits that we wore on the day. I had like a three-piece suit in silver with red trimming, and Kate had a red 50s dress that kicked out the bottom with lots of petticoats underneath. So red and silver are now our corporate colours. I can't see myself wearing a silver suit in any other form again, but I still have it. It's, you know, it was fun at the time.
The vows are similar, but not quite the same.
It's essentially the same as a civil wedding. There's only one sentence that you legally have to say, which I think goes something like, I've not been married before and it's all okay for me to marry you, or something, you know, obviously better than that, much better than that.
I don't remember saying that.
Yeah, there's one, so there's one sentence that you have to say. But the rest of it, you could literally walk in, say that sentence, sign the document and walk out again.
They give you a suggested script which we stuck to.
Yeah, we just read it. We've still got it.
And any readings that you want to insert just have to be proofread by the service, because you can't mention religion, God or faith or anything, so they have to just check through everything that you want to say in the service to make sure that you're not breaking any laws.
But it makes it tricky to find good readings, because lots of readings for weddings are faith related. So we had Winnie the Pooh, I think, and someone made something else up for us. Someone wrote something
one of our
for
friends
us,
wrote a poem,
which was brilliant.
Helen's one of the only people that I'm a bit more tolerant if she irritates me, and I'm able to sort of bite my tongue a bit, and that tells me...
Because I'm amazing the rest of the time.
Yes. And that tells me that she's a good person for me to be around.
The reason I love Kate is because she's very brave with life. She's not scared to try something, and silly examples, but you know, we're going to build some furniture. She's like, let's try and build it ourselves first. We'll just go and do it. And she's very brave about things and quite happy to just give things a go. And I really admire and respect that, because I'm a bit nervous and scared of trying things sometimes. So she brings out the best in me, really. It's cheesy, isn't it?
Well, that was better than my answer. Can I go back?